Ayo! Welcome back, flies on the wall. I hope you're Gucci. I am Baba Gucci, and this is Ramblings of a Madman. It's a Sunday today, a rainy day. I have something serious that I want to talk about. Something that I really need to get off my chest. Now, this episode is going to be a little controversial. This episode might not appeal to everyone. If you're a religious person, I have nothing against religious people. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to just quickly give this disclaimer so I can continue, okay? If you're protective about your religion, I would buy out from this one, just to keep your own sanity. I don't want to receive hate mail, okay? Anyways. So yesterday I had a friend come over for a little barbecue. Just a few burgers. He's a friend of a friend. I've only known him a couple of years. And I've only met him twice or thrice. I called him over because I thought he was also quite a intellectual, business-minded person. So we could discuss some ideas, things like that. Long story short, he comes over and turns out he's a bit of a religious nut. Now, when I say nut, I don't say it lightly. Religious people, nothing wrong with being religious. Nothing wrong with believing in a deity. So, we start discussing, life, philosophy, things like that, food, drink. He smokes weed, by the way. Okay? So he's lit up, had a few puffs. All right, cool. I don't really smoke, but I occasionally, maybe in a couple of months, I'll have a joint if I have one. Cool. Not a big deal. But as this guy smoked up, he started getting more into conspiracy topics. Now, I love conspiracies. I watch a lot of Joe Rogan, and it's all good. I like listening to conspiracies. You don't have to buy into the conspiracy theories just to not enjoy them. They are fun. And some of them are quite plausible and could be true as well. You should have an open mind always. Don't believe in everything. So this is a discussion that I was having with him about belief, right? The thing is, everything this guy talked about, he would always somehow end up mentioning God. And you should say this, and you should pray this way. Now, I'm not going to mention the specific religion because, I don't want to shit on anybody. All I'll say is one of the Abrahamic religions. I hope that I said that right. But I'm not shitting on religions, okay? I'm just shitting on this guy. And the way he pushes his beliefs. He would find a way to just mention God, mention to do the right thing, and to do this ritual. Say this 500 times, and you're going straight to heaven. You have a first-class ticket to heaven if you say this, and blah, 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 and you will be rewarded. I'm like, what? In my head, I'm like, what? Because with these people, if you start questioning them, they can get irritable. Even though this guy's a very friendly, down-to-earth guy, they formulate some sort of barrier then. And you can't have, a good discussion anymore. So, I just kept nodding and going, oh, okay. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's interesting. Uh-huh. But because I was smoking up too, so it was getting harder and harder, let me tell you, to keep a straight face at some of the things. Because I'm going to mention two things. One was, somehow we got onto the topic of Tesla. And I was like, man, this Nikola Tesla was killed. His career was ruined by, people, some certain forces, could be the CIA, whatever. And he's like, yeah, exactly, blah, blah, this is what they do. So we're on Tesla, and we're like, this is what happened. So then we got on to energy and sound waves, and I told him about the pyramids, what they're discovering now. They're discovering sound wave frequency that's hidden, that we don't know about, and it's interesting to talk about, because it's plausible, no matter how far out there it is plausible. And the pyramid designs inside, a whole bunch of other things. So we got on to sound waves, right? And about this frequency, this special frequency, right? When I said that, his eyes lit up and he's like, yeah, those frequencies, you know about those? Back in the day. And then his anecdote started. They used to use this. They don't want us to discover this frequency. This frequency, is a healing frequency. It can heal the whole world. Did you know that? I was like, did I? Did I know that? All I knew is that, okay, there's a plausible theory that there's an undiscovered frequency, sound frequency, that could produce energy. That's all I know about it. This guy took that and went 1,000 miles further with it. And he's like, yeah, there's, those bells? Why do you think they took away all those giant bells on the cathedrals? The Liberty Bell, why did they melt it down and said we need this material for the guns in the World War and there's a shortage of this metal? He's like, no, it was all planned. They don't want us to have those healing frequencies that the bells had. And people used to stand under the bell. They used to stand under the bell and it went dong, dong. But imagine me looking at this guy straight in his eyes. We're sitting in the garden, so it's his face is outlined by the shadows, right? There's a fire behind me, so flames are dancing on his face and the shadows, and his eyes are glowing as he recalls this so happily and confidently, like this story actually happened. And he's like, yeah, and his head's moving left and right, like what's that thing that swings inside the bell, right? And he's like, yeah, and people used to stand inside and they'd go ding dong and used to heal. and he said used to heal up. Everybody would heal. The entire city would heal. Oh my God, man. I could have burst out laughing at any second. I was like a dam filled to capacity, and I was about to burst. One more ding or dong, and that was it. Somehow I managed to keep my composure, and I stared at him, then I looked away, and that weed was getting to me and making me about to giggle. Oh, man. So that's one. That was the first story. And the second thing that he did, he's like, hey, I saw your neighbors as I drove by to your house. Your neighbors have this saying outside, this prayer outside their houses. The couple of your neighbors have that. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing. And then he proceeds to tell me about the history, I'm using quotation marks, the history of this prayer and why I should say it. Because we were talking about snakes. He saw a couple of mongoose in my garden and he's like, hey, you have mongoose? I was like, yeah, man. They keep the snakes at bay. They're wild mongoose. And whenever I see them, I'm happy because I know that snakes, won't come into my garden. And he's like, yeah, they're really good for that. You know what else is good for that? This prayer that I saw that your neighbors are using outside their house. Let me tell you about that, man. Let me tell you, Baba, how this prayer came about. Basically, Noah's Ark, when the snakes were trying to come aboard the ark. And look, the way he was staring at me and telling me this with such certainty, like he was right there. Like he was one of those people on the ark, like taking inventory of the animals coming on board. He's looking at me dead in the eyes, recalling this story as it's as if something he's witnessed himself. And I'm like, how does this guy keep a straight face telling the story? He's staring me dead in the eyes and he's going, well, Noah was standing there gathering the animals onto his ark, right? And they were all climbing aboard. These two snakes came up to him and said, can we please get a place on your ship? And Noah said, no, but you're snakes. How do I know that you're not going to bite everybody on the ship? And they go, no, we promise we won't. And the way he said this, the way he became these snakes, and the way he so innocently and earnestly tried to explain to Noah that, no, we won't bite you, we promise. And then Noah replies, okay, you know what? You're allowed to come, but I will say this one prayer, and then you won't be able to... Something like that. I forgot now the story because I was just too... My mind was just too blown and full of bullshit to capacity that I couldn't absorb or take on any more information from this person. So somehow this anti-snake prayer came along into this holy book, scriptures, whatever and he's like, it's true. If you have this outside your house, this prayer, not one snake will ever come into your house. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'll stick to the mongoose. I'm done smoking up, by the way, for the night. He would just mention in everything about say this prayer, say these things 700 times every day. You are guaranteed a place. He had tons of these things to say. I don't understand why people do this. Bro, listen. What you do and what you believe in is your thing. I have no issues with that. I never push anything on you, though. I don't tell you that, hey, why do you believe in a book that you don't even know who actually wrote it? You have no proof about. Like, I don't say any of these things to anyone. That's my business. What I believe in and what I feel is true. Why should I go around pushing my shit on other people? You shouldn't be doing that either. Why do you feel the need to go around telling everybody to pray like this and do this and then you'll get into heaven? Like, why are you doing this? Leave people alone. Do you know how insecure you have to be? If you're just sitting at a friendly dinner, having a friendly conversation, yet you feel the need that every second you have to mention how to get into heaven and what rituals to do, and you turn everything into God. There's a nice house. There's this friend of mine is building a beautiful house in the woods. Oh, it's because of the grace of God. And then he goes into a lot of detail. If you just say, by the grace of God, blah, 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 fine and dandy. That's cool. If you mention God like that, thank God. Or even if you don't take it in vain and you're just like, oh, God bless you. Fine. That's cool. If you sneeze and I say, gesundheit, that's the same thing. But if you start pushing your beliefs onto others for no reason other than you feeling some need to spread the message so that you might get more credit with God, listen, shut the fuck up. Zip it. Do good things, yes. With your actions, spread your message, okay? Feed the poor. Don't talk about it. Go ahead and feed the poor. Show people that you're feeding the poor, right? Stop saying that if you feed 1,000 homeless people, you're going to get 1 billion fucking gold in heaven up there. Fucking asshole. Stop misguiding people. The first part of the message is great. The second part of the message is baloney. Anyways, I get really pissed off at this type of shit. And I call bullshit out on these people. But sometimes you just can't, because, especially these days, the way people are now, they're so sensitive to this shit. If you say one little thing to people, you're ostracized. You're getting fucked up. You're getting so much hate. So, thank you for listening and putting up with my nonsense. I'm only here to talk about my bullshit and get shit off my chest. It's been a long episode, and I hope you learned something. Probably not. I hope you're not mad at me, and I hope you can forgive me if I have transgressed. Anyways, thank you, my flies on the wall. Thanks for listening, and I apologize if I offended anybody. Did not mean to do anything like that. I love you all. Peace and love. Evil. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Where's it come from? Who's doing this? Who's killing us? Is this darkness in you too?